Hello everybody! I've tried to make a video like 100 million times before this one, but I never finished somehow, so I just have like clips of me opening a vlog. That's like all I have, just the opening of saying hi, and then I lose track and I don't finish the video. Welcome to a segment on my channel called Fathia Reviews. The Fathia Recap. January Recap. Yeah, I don't know what the segment is going to be called, but basically it's a segment where I want to recap everything that happened around us, around the world, here in Jakarta. I'm actually not in Jakarta. I am in San Francisco at the moment. But anyways, you get what I mean. Since now it is already the end of February-ish, I totally missed January, but that means we have much more things to recap on, so let's start. The first and foremost is that I came out with a new single, and it's of me and this other dude. His name is Kurosuke. If you watch my videos religiously, you'll probably notice that I use his songs a lot in my videos as like the back song, and I got a chance to work with him in a song called Velvet, and we released it right on Valentine's Day on 14th of February 2019. The response have been amazing, but for those of you who don't know, I will leave down the link of the Spotify and also the music video if you want to check it out. So the story behind it was that I actually already knew Kurosuke beforehand. He wanted to make a song and he needed a girl voice. He wanted it to be a duet, and so he asked me and I was very much flattered, and we did the song. I don't know what you necessarily call that genre. Some call it like city pop or whatever, dream pop. Called Velvet, look it up. Also, can we talk about how January flew by super quickly? I mean, remember those of you guys who said, oh, 2019 was gonna be my year, but now it's already like towards the end of February and you haven't achieved anything major yet. Yeah, 2020 is definitely my year. RUU Permusikan. For those of you who don't know, in Indonesia, there's this thing called Rancangan Undang-Undang Permusikan, which is basically an act, a music act, a musical act, a music law. Buat kalian yang belum tahu, memang undang-undang itu beda dengan rancangan undang-undang. Perbedaan rancangan undang-undang sama undang-undang biasa adalah RUU itu masih rancangan. Jadi masih ada beberapa step-step lain sampai undang itu disahkan dan ditetapkan sebagai undang-undang. With that being said, I think RUU Permusikan is just bizarre. I've read it. I think it's just like it's a good intention gone bad. Because when you do read the articles, there are some articles that makes you go, what? Including but not limited to Article 5. Yang lucu dari pasal 5 adalah pasal tersebut adalah persis sama jiplakan dari salah satu pasal di Undang-Undang Perfilman. I don't know how many cases have been brought by that article alone, but maybe the impact is not as significant. I don't know. Also, ada pasal yang menyebutkan tentang uji kompetensi di mana musisi harus melakukan uji kompetensi agar bisa disebut sebagai musisi or something like that. I'll put it here. To me, that's really crazy because music is very subjective. Art is very subjective. Not everyone was trained formally. Although in that article, they do acknowledge those musicians who were not trained formally, who were trained informally. Still, some of the greatest musicians can't even read theory, musical theory. They can't really read notes, but they're able to play. I know that they do this in the States and some other countries, but it's voluntarily, not like a necessity to be seen as a qualified musician. I think it'll just overall put a more separation between, you know, those musicians who do have access and power and to those who are still independent. It just defeats the purpose of being a musician, I feel. Being an artist. It's pretty crazy. Like a month ago or something, this soap opera actress, she got caught for prostitution. And mind you, it didn't happen yet. They just saw that, I think it was her manager or something, tried to, you know, make a deal for her, and she got caught. And the news blew up so fast and everybody was basically talking about it. Some pro, some con, some saying that you can't really criminalize prostitution because Indonesia doesn't have an act that criminalizes prostitution. But we do have a law that says that zina, or basically having sexual intercourse with someone who is married, is illegal. I think my problem for that case specifically was that they didn't even talk about the client at all. And they really, really put a bad name on her when it actually should be both ways, don't you think? I mean, I'm not much an economist, but when there's no demand, nobody would be supplying, right? I don't know. I just feel like they really, really put a bad light on her and not on the client or the manager or whoever. And they talked about the price too, which is like, off. Next, on the brighter note, I don't know if you guys watched this, but there is a Grab video circling around of this Grab bike drivers got surprised by getting free Umrah tickets. Yeah, if you want to look for the full video, go ahead, find it on Twitter or something. It's like everywhere. Isn't it so precious? Look at how happy he is. It just shows that if you work hard, you will be rewarded and people will see you if you put your all to something. Companies will eventually have to reward you because, you know, everyone else can see how hard you're working. Moving on. Podcasts. Everybody is making a podcast, I swear. Maybe not in Indo much, but like I've been surrounded by people making podcasts and I've been watching podcasts too. I actually knew this podcast from my boyfriend. It's called King It or Sting It. It actually features this comedian who has his own podcast and it's like really, really random and they talk about random stuff, but it's really funny. And I think the power of like podcasts is that you can just listen to it and you don't even need to watch like the visual, because I know that's how podcasts started out. It's supposed to be just audio, but now people do it with visuals and stuff. And yeah, it's nice to have something, you know, to listen to when you don't really want to watch anything. Just found out that podcasts are really popular in Spotify as well. And there's like this whole community. Search Spotify Indonesia and you want search the podcasts. I can see that there's like Makna Talks and there's one made by Aryo Pratomo. Hey, shout out. Yeah, it's just a lot. How do you guys feel about podcasts? I actually have been thinking about making podcasts, but I don't know. Also comment down below your favorite podcast if you have one. The political debates. So last Sunday was the second presidential debate between Pak Jokowi and Pak Prabowo. The first one I watched, the second one I watched, and woo, Nelly. I know that this whole debate thing is supposed to appeal for swing voters or for voters who don't know who they want to vote for. But how are you going to know who to vote for when every one of their supporters are like bombarding you everywhere? I mean, I'm the type of person who likes to see clearly, especially when you're trying to choose the next president. But I swear, it's not even about the presidents anymore. It's about the supporters. I know when you have like a real big passion for something, you want to advocate for it. But that doesn't mean that we need to fight. You know, I've seen like families fight over this. I've seen graves being moved because, you know, there was a conflict between them because they didn't have the same political views. I mean, I've seen so much hateful comments on Instagram. I mean, I think it's always a noble thing to like, you know, try to see clearly, even if you do support a certain party, try to view things with a clear mind. And I think this is really, really important. Please, guys, don't be fooled by false media. Don't be fooled by hoaxes. You know, sometimes when we hear someone say something or we read something, it's so easy to just assume that that's right, but it may not be right. You gotta fact check. You gotta do data crossing. Even though you think you don't believe it, sometimes it does play with our psyche. You know, people's opinions sometimes do get to us. So just saying, don't fight over it. Last but not least, I want to talk about movies. I've watched so many movies, especially on the plane on the way here. I watched Beautiful Boy. Brilliant. Recommend it so much. It's about a father-son relationship and the son is a meth addict. The one who plays it is Timothée Chalamet and Steve Carell. It's amazing. Not a very fun movie though. It's heavy. Second thing that I watched, A Simple Favor, which has Blake Lively and that chick that I always forget her name, Anna Kendrick. What I think, it's a really, really weird movie. I didn't know how they were trying to approach everything. I thought it was supposed to be a thriller, but it wasn't really a thriller. It was all over the place, I feel. It did entertain me though, so, you know, E for effort. The movie that I watched is Destination Wedding, which has Winona Ryder and frickin' John Wick. Keanu Reeves. The fact that they have Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves as the main actors, that is like, I love both of them. When I watched the trailer, I wasn't so excited. But since I was on a plane, why not watch it anyway? With that being said, that movie is not for everyone. I can imagine someone watching like the first 10 minutes and fall asleep immediately. But for me, I really enjoyed that movie. I really enjoyed the dialogue between them. And it's so funny because it's very typecast, like characters. Winona Ryder is like this hopeless romantic who just got her heart broken. And Keanu Reeves is like this really tough, like, guy who has like a iron curtain around his heart. But yeah, something happens between them. So I enjoyed it very much. I really think that they did a great job memorizing the script, if it was memorized even, because everything was just very neat. Like the words that they chose, very like Oxford Dictionary, if you know what I mean. I think that's it for the recap. Alright. I don't know if that was a January recap, February recap. I just wrote everything that I want to talk about. Tell me if you enjoyed this kind of segment thing. Also, please comment down below any thoughts that you have. If you disagree with me, if you agree with me, you know. Also, tell me what I should name this segment and whether I should do it weekly or per month. Ooh, that was 24 minutes.